They tell you the solitude is the hardest part of a solo stint at 10,000 meters. They're wrong. The hardest part is the noise. In Abyssal Trench Station 4, you're never actually in silence. You're encased in a titanium spear that's constantly being squeezed by over 15,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. The hole doesn't just sit there, it moans. It's a chorus of metallic groans, pops, and shrieks that remind you every single second that you are one microscopic hairline fracture away from being turned into a red mist. I'm Elias, a marine biologist, or at least I was when I signed the contract. Down here, I feel more like a night watchman for a tomb. My job is to monitor the vent garden, a cluster of hydrothermal vents that spew superheated mineral rich water into the freezing ocean. For the first 40 days, it was beautiful. I watched the blind shrimp dance in the thermal haze. I watched the giant tube worms like white pipes swaying in the currents. But on day 45, the quiet zone rules changed. I was sitting at the viewport drinking a cup of rehydrated coffee that tasted like wet cardboard when I first saw the anomaly. One of the external floodlights, lamp 3, flickered. It's a heavy duty LED array designed to withstand the crushing depths. It shouldn't flicker. I looked out into the brine. Something was obstructing the light. It wasn't silt, it was a shape. Long, pale, and moving with terrifying liquid grace. It didn't swim like a fish, it didn't move like a squid. It moved like a man walking through a dream. I checked the motion sensors, nothing. The sonar, flat. Whatever was out there had no heartbeat, no heat signature, and seemingly no mass. By day 50, I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard a new sound. It wasn't the hole groaning anymore, it was a scratching. Soft, persistent, on the outer curve of the viewport. I did what any sane person would do. I told myself it was marine snow, the debris of dead organisms falling from the ocean surface. I told myself it was just the station settling into the silt. Then I saw the prints. I woke up from a 4-hour fever dream and looked at the main observation window. There, pressed into a thin layer of bioluminescent algae on the outside of the glass, were 5 distinct marks. Fingerprints. They were impossibly long digits, which were at least 8 inches each in length, with thin, webbed joints, but they were undeniably humanoid. Something had stood on the narrow ledge outside my window, held onto the titanium frame, and peered inside while I slept. I went to the comm station. I needed to hear a human voice. ADS-4 to surface. Come in, Aurora. I have biological activity outside the hole that isn't on the manifest. Please advise. Static. That was the only answer. The quiet zone had lived up to its name. The storm on the surface must have knocked out the relay boy. I was truly alone. That's when the first knock came. A heavy, solid thud. It vibrated through the floorboards and into the soles of my feet. It was coming from the airlock. I ran to the airlock monitor. My breath was coming in ragged gasps, fogging up the screen. I wiped it away with my sleeve and stared at the external camera feed. The floodlights were struggling. The silt was kicked up in a thick cloud, but standing right in front of the outer hatch was a figure. It was translucent, so white it was almost blue. Its skin was stretched so tight over its ribs that I could see the pulsing of a dark, cold heart underneath. It didn't have a face, not really. Just a smooth, pale oval with 2 deep black pits where eyes should be. And in its hands, those long, spindly fingers, it was holding my torque wrench, the one I'd lost during the drone deployment last week. It didn't use it to hit the door. It inserted the tip of the wrench into the emergency manual override. No, you can't know how to do that. The creature leaned its head towards the camera. Its mouth, a jagged horizontal slit that I hadn't seen before, opened. My own voice came out of the station's internal speakers. Elias, it's so heavy down here. The weight. Don't you feel the weight? The voice was perfect. It had my stutter, it had the slight rasp when I get tired. The air in there is so thin, Thing said, using my voice to mock me. It's a bubble. Bubbles always burst. The airlock status turned from green to amber. The station shuddered as the small chamber flooded. The creature was inside the station's footprint now. Only the inner hatch, the one made of reinforced steel and hydraulic seals, was between us. I'm sitting on the floor of the galley now. I've stopped trying to call the surface. The inner hatch is groaning. I can see the steel bowing inward, the rivets weeping tiny jets of high-pressure water. Each jet is like a laser cutting through the plastic chairs and the linoleum floor. The creature isn't trying to force the door anymore. It's just waiting. It knows the physics of the deep better than I do. It knows that the station is tilted. It knows that the pressure is doing the work for it. The whispering hasn't stopped, but it's changed. It is not just my voice anymore. I hear my mother. I hear the supervisor who hired me. I hear the sound of rain on a tin roof. Sound I haven't heard in 3 months. Equalize, Elias. Stop fighting the ocean. If you let the water in, pressure goes away. If you let the water in, you can finally breathe. I look at my reflection in the chrome of the coffee machine. My eyes, they aren't wide anymore. The pupils are widening, swallowing the iris, turning into those same dark abyssal pits I saw outside. My skin feels tight. My bones feel like they're made of lead. I'm standing up now. I'm walking toward the hatch. The water's up to my knees and it's freezing. It doesn't feel cold. It feels right. I'm reaching for the manual wheel and I'm going to turn it. Not because I want to die, but because I'm tired of being a bubble in a world made of stone. If you find this station, don't look for a body. Just look at the vents. They're going to be beautiful in the dark.